I feel for the people who just tuned in and kind of like did not hear that beginning part and all that other stuff. And then they hear that. That's the first thing they hear. This is what happens when we're not organized.
I think most people would be happy to hear that. That's a welcome sound from yesteryear.
It is a welcome sound from yesteryear. Jimbo yelling at Lawrence Dawsey, angry about once again, right?
I think that was spring 2011, if I recall. It might have been 2012, but they were on the IM fields that year.
Yeah.
Because they had to do the work to the practice fields to get them level and not all crooked and stuff.
Yeah, there was some. Yeah, there were reasons for that too. Reasons for that as well. Yeah, so we're good. It's good to be here. Hope you're well. Hope you had a great Father's Day weekend. Hope you have a great Juneteenth today. For those of you taking the day off, as you should, it's a holiday. Celebrate and learn a little something about that. It's pretty cool. By the way, one thing to note on that, by the way, as it is a new holiday. It's been celebrated for a long time, but it's a new holiday, and some holidays come and go. I'm kind of like, indifferent. Others I'm like, oh, that's a good holiday. That's a holiday we should be celebrating. This is one of those. I was just thinking about how frustrating it would be, like even in the moment, because enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation, generally speaking, worked with the advancement of Union troops. So Texas was a faraway post. It took a long time for that information to come out. Like they needed the Union to get there. And so once that happened, what? We've been free for 2 years? Yeah, you really have. Sorry about that. You'd be like, oh, at once, well, awesome. What the hell? You'd be furious. Anyhow, happy Juneteenth. No, I was going to say something else, and I got sidetracked on my Juneteenth. Oh, I know what it is. Father's Day. I hope you had, for those of you out there, I hope you had a great Father's Day.
What'd you get?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I got. I got something awesome. I got
a car repair bill.
No, well, that I have too.
No, I just want, Bryce.
Yeah, no. I have a ton of of frustrating things to deal with, and one of them is a car repair bill, but that's of my own doing, and that's I'm getting that fixed right now. Should be ready this week, by the way, Tom. This week, I get my baby back.
All right.
Wait. No, I got little funny things, seasoning for meats that I grill. That's always a good thing.
Seasoning.
I like different seasonings.
Rubs.
Yeah, rubs. I got that. And then in addition to that, I got a nice card. And in the past, the card would be like, love you, Dad. Bryce, love you. They call me. So my kids are weird. They call my wife, their mom, mother, and they call me, their dad, father.
It's like something out of the Waltons.
They'll say, Father, what time are you going to be home today? And it's just kind of become normal. That's just the way it is. Father. Bryce started that, and then the second one, Clark, followed, and that's what it is. Mother, what's for dinner tonight? That's how it happens in our house. It is hilarious, right? So I got a card on Father's Day, and both of them took the time. This is the first time. I didn't realize what the age would be, that they actually wrote something of significance in it. So I'm going to hold that card forever. That was the best part of my Father's Day, other than the fact that my father was also in town. So that was great. He was here. Lots of Florida State football talk, by the way. Lots.
Opa's ready?
Opa is ready to go. We were mapping it out, whether he's going to join me up at Clemson, all that stuff. We were talking about the Pitt game late in the year. We were talking about the LSU game. We were talking about all the games. And it was cool. Oh, it should be noted that today is 67 days to the start of college football.
All right.
Now, more than that for Florida State, but 67 days, that's it.
That's nothing.
Buddy, that is nothing. That's really nothing.
With July 4th in camp, you're basically at 30 days. 30 days.
Camp is the big thing, right? Yeah, once you get, because college football, August 26th is the first game. And then, of course, we know for Florida State, it's a little bit different. We got to wait a little bit longer, but that game's September the 3rd.
Yeah, but we're going to watch Navy Notre Dame at least for a quarter, a little bit more that first weekend, because we're previewing our own experience next year, what it's going to look like in Dublin.
I'm pumped. Good times. It's going to be so glorious. I'm excited about all of it. I'm excited about where Florida State's at. I'm excited about all those things. Did you happen to see, now I'll get to recruiting in a moment because Florida State's in a good position and some big names were in town. And just the buzz around this program over the next few days is only going to be heightened. I think they're going to get some good answers this week. And that's what a lot of people want to talk about, rightfully so. And I'll get to that in a moment. Did you tune into, I know you and I were obsessed with, and hopefully you all enjoyed the U.S. Open and the primetime conclusion that we got. Saturday night was incredible. I just sat there watching Saturday with my dad. I mean, I've watched more golf on Saturday than any human being should. And I love golf. But even I had to admit, by the time we got done, it's 11 o'clock at night. I've been watching golf since noon. It's ridiculous.
They pushed the outer limits in that time zone, too. It was basically pitch black as they're coming down the stretch.
They butchered that. They really kind of butchered that. That was stupid. You had people playing meaningful holes in the dark. It's not what you do. It's just not what you do. And I think they regretted it.
Easily avoidable.
It is easily avoidable. Yeah, they screwed that up. But nonetheless, it was enjoyable for us on the East Coast to be able to watch primetime golf, maybe grill out a little bit, have a cold, icy beverage, enjoying the golf in the back. Oh, it was incredible. I loved it. But did you happen to catch any of the College World Series?
No, not one pitch.
If you would have watched Virginia's coach choke the game away against Florida, you would have been appalled. I'm glad you didn't watch it. It was something to behold. It was one of those moments that you feel like you could sue for malpractice. The kind of absurdity that took place on Saturday night. It was hard to watch. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. A pitcher on the hook, clearly in trouble. You have a 2-run lead entering the ninth. You've got Florida beat. He gives up a towering home run to start the ninth. I mean, it still hasn't landed. He gets the next out. He gets an out, and you're like, okay. The next pitch is a towering home run that ties the game. The out he got was a pitch down the heart of the plate. So he's given up 2 home runs, and the only other pitch was down the heart. My man comes out and talks to him, then turns around and walks back to the dugout. Meanwhile, he's had a kid out there warming up for half an hour. That kid throwing 150 pitches in the bullpen, looking out there, waiting to get called in. Gives up a hit, then beans a guy, bases loaded, still hasn't come to get him this whole time. Then he goes and gets the other kid. What are we doing? Sack fly, game over, you lose. It was something. Is the kind of thing that partially because it was Florida, but also just because we've seen that mistake.
Yeah,
we saw it here in a regional.
Yep.
After a rain delay.
Yeah.
You're like, really? Gonna do that, are we?
First pitch, I forget.
That's
might have been
as
first pitch.
far as it can be hit, that ball. That's as far as you can hit one. That's a toughie.
So that tells me the way that you're relaying the story, you took in every pitch.
I was yelling
of that situation.
So Christy was laughing at me because she's in a conversation with my stepmom. My dad and I are glued to this on the other couch, and we're both just sipping, watching. I'm like, what are we doing? And even my dad was like, "Oh, this is." I'm like, Dad, I cannot believe I'm watching this. It was something to behold. Yeah, you would have laughed, cried all at the same time.
Something it's like talking about accounting. Like accounting can be something that gives you anxiety. Mismanaged situations in the ninth inning, even if it's not my team, just watching a manager blow a game. It just gives me the creepy crawlies as it's happening. It's not a comfortable thing. I used to, in my younger days, take pleasure when a manager was blowing a situation. I just thought it was funny. Now I get all anxious about it because you could just see it coming. It's like watching a car crash in super slow motion.
Baseball does it better than any other sport. It's also the worst thing on earth to watch when it's yours. And you're right. I mean, the way it takes place and unfolds very gradually. It's time consuming. They don't rip the Band-Aid off in baseball. It is a very time-consuming stumble, fall, collapse. I knew this was going to happen when you walk the first guy. This is, usually that's how it is. Oh, we're going to walk the leadoff hitter of a 1-run game. Sure, this is going to end well. That's usually when it happens.
It's the grape lady in Exmo Speed.
Oh, buddy. Yeah.
You're just watching her tilt.
Yeah.
And there she goes. But we're going to wait for another 10 minutes to actually see her hit the ground.
But at least with the grape lady, there's a wonderful ending, and that is the sound of her writhing in pain, making that awkward those sound over and over again. That's a wondrous ending to a hilarious video where you know the conclusion is going to be just that. The ending of a baseball game as blown by the team you're rooting for is always much worse. Like, there's the nail. There's the death knell. I knew that was coming. Took a half an hour. We got to watch this all play out. Because you know what else happens in the end of a baseball game typically? It's littered with moments of hope. Like you get the out by accident that's hit right at somebody. Well, maybe baseball will be baseball. Maybe this guy will get a pass for being a dumbass, and this ball will just go right to somebody and we'll double somebody off.
Yeah. First pitch to their hottest hitter, 6 inches outside.
Yeah.
Called a strike. You go, well, it's 0-1.
In college baseball, you might really get that extra 6 to 7 inches outside the plate.
Softball could be in the other dugout.
Sure. Without question. Yeah, so that's happened, and I already, I kind of already knew what was going to happen with that College World Series. Feel like it's foregone conclusion. Florida's going to win another one. Second national title.
Wake Forest or LSU are out there.
We'll see.
Those are our white knights.
So many moments. So let's hope, and I brought his name up on Friday's show, that Charles Lester III, 5-star DB, will be making his way in. I don't know if you guys saw Michael Langston's report, but Patrick Surtain spent a lot of time with Charles Lester.
Almost like he was a priority.
A lot of time as they began to try to connect, and Coach Norvell was very involved with Charles Lester as well. Very involved. And there you go. Yeah, not surprising. Let's hope that Charles Lester III, 5-star. Hey, listen, it's a Florida kid.
There were a run of commitments over the weekend, specifically yesterday. If you follow any of these accounts, like, this is part of our gig. So On3 Recruits is something I follow. And they put out those graphics. The guy Hayes Fawcett does those, edits. And I mean, yesterday on the back 9 of the U.S. Open, there must have been 12 I'm scrolling through, like for Texas and for Alabama and Ohio State.
Florida got a few, yeah.
It's just in Florida, it's going and going and going. And I think the hot streak is going to make its way to our neighborhood probably this week. Yeah. But yesterday, that was unbelievable. It is visit season, so it makes a lot of sense. But if you're wondering if we're going to get involved in that at all, it probably could be.
Well, and I keep going back to the fact that it's really cool to see that there's a quarterback on the horizon that we're all really excited about and who continues to impress every time he gets an opportunity to. And Luke Kromenhoek, if I could speak on a Monday. And, every time that you see footage or you hear scouts talk about him, he's just getting better and better and better. And he seems more emboldened about his eventual path to Florida State than ever before. And that when you get a kid who is that well thought of, who continues to ascend the rankings ladder for what it's worth, who is as outward and exuberant in his commitment to your program, when you get a kid like that, the better that class is going to look because of people who want to follow that.
Well, and there's so much to love about this class already, is that you do have cornerstone pieces like Kromenhoek, like Camp Davis. But then
Camp Davis is going to be a beast.
You're going to have anywhere from 4 to 6 wide receivers that are all good. I mean, let's say that again, 4 to 6 wide receivers that are really good. And if Lester and some others on the defensive side say yes, then it's just going to get contagious. You know how this goes? You've seen it. I mean, it was that way for us for a long time. Hasn't been in a minute. But you see it for Alabama or Georgia or Clemson or wherever. And there's just this momentum that really occurs because kids want to go play with each other and build empires. And so if we can get a couple of yeses this week, we do what we're supposed to do on the football field this fall. I mean, there's a chance this class could be pretty far up there in the rankings by the time it's all said and done.
Well, and it's either way, it's revealing information for you. I've said this is a good coaching staff with a really good head coach and a very, very good offensive line / offensive coordinator and cohort doing battle there. He and Alex Adkins, meaning Norvell and Alex Adkins, are really good tandem. I love them. But we still have a jury out on the staff as you try to ascend to greatness. And these are the moments where you get answers to questions that you have. And, in truth, signing day is the answer. I mean, you got to actually procure the yes as opposed to the verbal. You got to get that. We've seen, obviously, that you can be burned. But we're now holding people to high standards. It's good to see that the progress is quite evident in the form of those elite players that are making their way here and want to be part of the camps and to see what Florida State's all about and to talk with these coaches. The level of that athlete has ascended to real heights of excitement because you got 4 and 5 star kids here instead of 2 and 3 star.
Well, the criteria has expanded in this era of college football of what separates you from other institutions, and the biggest one that everybody talks about is NIL, and of course it can't be inducement, of course not,
Mm.
but it needs to be robust all the same. So as a program at that level, it's expanded, but then also as a coach, the criteria have expanded too. For example, I think Adam Fuller is a good one. You have to recruit high school, you have to develop, you have to be apt on the field. That's always been the case. But now you got to be good when it comes to transfer portal recruitment as well. That is something different. You're recruiting a different type of person, somebody who has been wronged or has been cast off from a program or who was undervalued coming out of high school or was a late bloomer. So that is you're talking to an adult, something closer to an adult when you're
Mhm.
going into the portal versus what you're doing in high school. So as you're evaluating, is this coach good enough to get us to the plateau, the final one of greatness? It's not just about being a developer. It's not just about being able to go win in living rooms. It's not just about the portal. It's that you have to add all these things together, and then across that side of the football, you could probably spread those skills. But I think there's no doubt that Adam Fuller, because that's what we're talking about here, the defensive side of the ball, has been excellent at procuring those kinds of adults out of the portal to come here to Florida State. Now, can the defensive side of the ball take that step forward from the high school side? Because if they can, then top 5 is absolutely within reach.
Well, they have to, though, Tom, because I don't believe the model is sustainable as currently constructed. Winning these elite players off the edge like a Jared Verse will not continue to happen. First of all, there's not a lot of them in the portal. The kind of special players that
Yeah.
Jermaine Johnson and Jared Verse are, they're not out there. Florida State happened to get 2 of the very few that have been out there in the portal. Most of those elite players off the edge or in the interior of the offensive defensive line, they are of the high school recruit pool that they go to Alabama, they go to Georgia. You've got to get those kids. They're not transferring. They're not putting their names in the portal all that often. And you can't rely on that to be the crux of what you're doing to make up your defense. So they've done it out of necessity and they've won it and they deserve credit for it, as you're noting. But from here to sustain and continue to be upwardly mobile, I believe you're going to have to get better at bringing in the highest caliber of player from the high school ranks. They're showing the ability to get those kids onto campus now and to have those conversations. Now we got to see them close them. And listen, getting them on campus is half the battle. You got to develop the relationship.
Yeah, it is. And then I think a third of the battle after that, if we want to get into fractions and say, oh my God, there's 5/15ths and here's um you also have to take care of your NIL side. So, we really have lauded what the Battle's End, for example, has done from a retention standpoint, but it doesn't stop there. Just because we focused on retention this year doesn't mean we're going to do it in the next. And as this thing develops until whatever legislation comes down or rules or provisions are put in place, you need to make sure that that continues. I think that across college
Mm-hmm.
football it's not in the bubble phase yet where it's going to burst and it's going to contract. I think it's still the funding needs to go up, up and away in order to be able to get all the yeses that you're looking for from the 17 and 18-year-olds, but then also the 22-year-olds that are, going to be one and dones in December and January.
The greatest area of well, I should say the best way to aid those yeses and to have the larger conversation about a roster retention, roster improvement, high school ranks, portal ranks is, of course, wins on the field. All of that translates to more yeses and more opportunity to make sure that you showcase just how shrewd you are as a collective, like they are, or they have so far. Just winning, just winning. I mean, that brings people to town.
And if you treat it like an NFL salary cap, there's going to be a lot of room under the cap this offseason because how many dudes are we going to have drafted next year?
A lot.
Dozen?
It's been a minute since we will have as many players drafted as Florida State will next year.
There's going to be a lot of graphics at warchant.com saying going pro, with somebody's photo, off to the next level, off to the pros. That's what December, January is going to be about. So there's going to be a lot of room for either retention for the players that have emerged. Like, for example, if you were to handicap this offseason, I think Patrick Payton might be one of your leading men for roster retention this upcoming winter.
You think Patrick Payton has a chance to go pro? Because I kind of think he does if he takes the next big step.
Which is why he becomes, I think, yes, that's a hefty price tag because he's a high school kid that came here, so he's got a transfer ability. And then also, if he has a really good and productive season, then he's got the size and the frame that would project.
If he continues to get bigger, he's already quick, and he plays really well this year, I think we could lose him.
I agree. But that's, again, that tag goes up on the guarantees, and you can make your pitch. This past winter, there were how many? Half dozen to 10 retention candidates that you
big ones.
Kind of needed to lock down.
Big ones. I mean, you just start with Jordan Travis, Johnny Wilson, and Trey Benson. Just start with that trio right there. Those were huge.
Verse.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
There was a lot of work to do in the retention front. I don't think you're going to have a lot of guys that are going to be swayed to come back. They've done their bit in college.
At some point you got to let guys walk when it's time to go pro, and you're going to be a first round guy. Then it's time to ride. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Gary, tell me a joke. The past, present, and future walk into a bar. It was tense.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com. Hey, guys, our next partner is AG1, the daily foundational nutritional supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it quite literally every single day. I began using AG1 because, I'll be honest with you, I don't like to take a bunch of pills and vitamins, and I just wanted something that tastes great, was quick, and easy to remember, so I do it. I do it every morning when I wake up. I certainly have it right after my coffee and before I work out. And I will tell you this, too. It is a simple, effective investment for your health. You can try AG1 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/JCS. Again, that's all you got to do is go to drinkag1.com/JCS. That's drinkag1.com/JCS. Check it out. It's delicious. It's quick. It's easy. It's proven. Vitamins, probiotics, whole food source nutrients. Start your day with it. You'll feel better. I promise.
Hand-breaded chicken, hardwood smoked bacon, and buttermilk ranch. It's the perfect comfort food. Pillow sold separately. Chicken bacon ranch loaded fries. Woo, saucy.
Do. My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996. Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young.
Reminded me of the things that we hope happen in the near future. So, Tom, last week, that list came out of the top 25 programs, whatever it was, most profitable collegiate athletic departments in 2022. We talked that those things are behind, that typically that the next year's amount is the more accurate assessment of where you're at, not the one but so this was for 2022, and Florida State was on the list and in a comfortable spot, but not where we wanted it to be. And it was disturbing when you see, Indiana, for example, at 34.37 million compared to Florida State's 10.36 million. And then you look at like it's not surprising to see, I just pulled it back up. It's not surprising to see, 12 million for a Texas or a Nebraska and 11 million for a Virginia, whatever. But when you see a UCF in this list, and you're kind of like, well, we're going to have to get with the program. Well, get this. I clicked on that to learn more over the weekend on my laptop. I was sitting there watching the golf 4 hours, Tom, 10 hours watching golf. At some point, you distract yourself and you read some other things. So I went down the rabbit hole of looking at how they account for these numbers and how were some of these programs. Because if you go further down and look at the report, you see names of teams that make 0 cents, programs that make 0 cents for being a profitable athletic department. Like more profitable than other schools, for example. Why would Binghamton be in the same area code as a Kansas or a Texas or a Florida State? So I was like, I want to find out. I want to know, how is it that they are? And then I found out. Specific to Binghamton, they got a 6. So these reports that come in, how dated are they? How far back do they are? The previous year's revenue or 2 years ago?
Yes,
revenue?
this is 2021, 2022. If it's based off of what we got last week, so
right.
it's trailing data by about a full fiscal year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In some cases, I think a little bit more, even like a year and a half. I was looking at these numbers. It's interesting, like carried over a year and a half. Somebody gave Binghamton University $60 million as a gift, to which they are going to fully fund an 84,000 square foot state-of-the-art baseball stadium. You can look at the artist rendering. It is a far cry nicer than Dick Hauser at Binghamton, New York. Binghamton University. They announced the largest gift ever, $60 million to build a baseball complex. It was an anonymous gift. This gift will help put Binghamton University into the upper echelon of all Division I schools. Binghamton. This unprecedented gift perfectly matches donor passion and the strategic needs for the campus. It is my hope that it will inspire others to give back to the area of campus that they are
Oh.
most passionate about. He's asking
Wow.
for more money.
You greedy sack of you-know-what. Really? 60 mil isn't enough at Binghamton?
This is an exciting time for Binghamton. We are extraordinarily grateful for the generosity of our donor family. This generous and historic donation will provide the Binghamton University baseball team with world-class facilities. Jesus, man.
It better.
That, according to Christina Johnson, Chancellor. As a former Division I athlete, I know that the lessons sports teach, teamwork, discipline, collaboration towards a common goal, are invaluable life lessons that will be supported by this wonderful gift.
You don't have to do it. You already have the money. Don't do this nonsense.
This facility will expand SUNNY's regional and national reach and exposure.
Yeah, SUNY Binghamton.
Inspire others to give back to further our academic and athletic prowess and build on the tremendous level of community spirit here at Binghamton. So go ahead, surf the internet. You'll see it. It's a massive, beautiful facility. The envy of any in baseball apparently resides in Binghamton. That's all because I fell down a rabbit hole trying to find out how the hell Binghamton was even on this list. $60 million anonymous donation.
They didn't believe it when they got that phone call. They didn't believe it, and they shouldn't have.
It's like the phone call we won't believe that we get to elevate the studios of the Jeff Cameron Show. When that check comes in anonymously, Jeff, I want you to have this $5 million to aid what you're doing at Warchant and on the radio program and through the podcast. It's unbelievable, Tom.
No, well, we'll find what we could do for the studio for $10. That's called retirement, buddy.
Unbelievable. I just want to stare at this baseball stadium. This thing is something. It's not domed. I would think for $60 million, you could get a retractable roof there in New York.
For sure.
You're going to need a little something. Cold as all get out up
The
in New
only
York.
reason I know that Binghamton exists is not because my family comes from New York. It's because they were an affiliate of the Mets forever. The B-Mets. Binghamton.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Maybe they could play there and rent out the facility.
The team, is that AA, single A, triple A?
Yeah, it was double.
Well, they ought to play in this place because I'm sure it's a far cry better than the place they're currently playing in. Has to be. So that's how we arrive at these astronomical numbers. Just have a little fun with it. Clicking on these universities and their profitability. I was like, what in the why are the Kennesaw State's on this list? What am I looking at? Yeah, it's all donations. It's people just dropping off $60 million, $90 million, $70 million, $40 million. Goodness gracious. I'm going to be honest with you. I love Florida State. There's zero chance I'm dropping a check for $60 million. Anything close to it. Zero chance. I don't care if I'm worth $10 billion. I'm not giving you $60 million.
If you're worth $10 billion, you'd drop $60 million. You would. That's nothing.
I told you what I would do if I did. Everything would be named Jeff Cameron. Jeff Cameron School of Arts, Jeff Cameron Communication School, Jeff Cameron Journalism School, Jeff Cameron Football Stadium, Jeff Cameron Field.
The Florida State Jeff Cameron.
We would be taking the field with a giant poster of me. We'd be breaking through a poster of me.
You'd replace the pregame tradition. There would be a bowing service to the rug. You'd use the rug.
Yeah, I'd require somebody to hold it up at all times during the game.
Yeah, people have to
walk around the stadium as a constant reminder that the lap of luxury that you're currently seated in is because of me and only me.
That would also be the pregame video. There's no need for hype to come out of the tunnel.
I mean,
folks, as a reminder, here it is. Must be 2 minutes before kickoff.
I'd do the double down. Welcome into Jeff Cameron Stadium on Jeff Cameron Field. Good to have you on board. There you'll see the renovated concourse, Jeff Cameron Concourse, which leads you down the third base line known as the Jeff Cameron line. Everything, foul poles, the Jeff Cameron poles. It get dicey, all of it. That's $60 million.
You call that the dong decider.
Oh,
that's the Jeff Cameron dong decider poll.
People be like, that Jeff Cameron must have done a lot. Yeah, he did. He did a lot.
It decides if it's foul or not.
That's all it is. This is the chemistry building, also known as the Jeff Cameron building. Jeff didn't study chemistry, doesn't know the first thing about it. No, but it's most assuredly named after him.
But if you put lasers on the dong decider, then you could also have audio tracks or if it's fair or foul.
Yeah, it'd be me,
Yeah,
my
just you
voice.
going, fair. That's a home run.
Fair ball, home run. Foul. Foul. And it lights up. The dong decider said it was foul.
It lights up red for foul, green for fair.
Legacy would be renamed the Jeff Cameron course. I'd call Trey and ask him how my golf course was doing. Are we keeping it up to standard? I mean, that's $60 million. You better be worth $1 billion just to write a check for $60 million.
Anonymous too. Interesting.
Yeah, you'd know about it. It'd light up New York City. It'd be like the bat symbol, but it'd be me and how much I donated. The picture like pointing back to the people of Manhattan.
I just want Manhattan to know what I've done for Tallahassee.
As many cities as I could pay. Well, $60 million goes a long way, one would think. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Tallahassee police confirm a person was hit and killed on Monroe Street Saturday night. Officials said the incident happened just before midnight near the intersection of Monroe Street and 6th Avenue. The adult male is pronounced dead on the scene. The road was blocked in both directions for several hours. Police say the investigation is still active. The Tallahassee National Weather Service said Friday that an EF1 tornado with 90-mile-per-hour winds struck Perry earlier in the day. The tornado hit about 3:45 a.m. on the north side of Hawk Road. The tornado damaged a large metal building, pulling some of the metal roof panels off and sending insulation over to Perry Foley Airport. The tornado traveled southeast, causing damage as it crossed the road. Then it flipped up the metal roof of a porch, peeled back the metal roof of an outbuilding, snapped a tree, and uprooted another. A sign was also damaged at the airport, and an unsecured aircraft was pushed sideways. The tornado lifted just past the airport. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 92.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Scattered thunderstorms likely this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies expected. Daytime highs approaching 86. Winds out of the southwest, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms likely tonight. Lows dip down to about 71. Overcast skies. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 88. Overcast. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 69.
This is Kyle, service manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse?
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinking. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road.
Seems like nobody brings this game up as a concern. This is an email from Matt. Matt, Tom and I have some. We kind of noted if there was a game on the schedule that doesn't jump off the page as an obvious challenge the way that LSU or Clemson does, or a rivalry game like Florida can, that Pitt would likely be the candidate that could be of concern.
Yeah, the sequencing in the schedule too. It's not in an ideal place. Later in the year, could have a weather issue up there, and they'll be motivated. If we're living up to our standard, that's going to be their season, and they've been known. They've been known too.
I think the number one thing I'd point out here, and he gives a bunch of reasons why, he worries about them at the line of scrimmage, that they're good on the line of scrimmage. And we all know how important that is. Mentioned that they do have one of the top cornerback tandems in the ACC, and that while Narduzzi can be a bit of a goof, his system does indeed breed very physical players. And I think that's true. I think that's accurate. And if you were to play a cold weather game and have it be very physical and they have a strong offensive and defensive line, yeah, you could be in a ball game. You could be in a ball game there. You just probably not heard it from us, Matt, but I have brought it up. I have talked about this before, that I think that's the game that I would nominate as the game that is most difficult that's not named LSU or Clemson. I think that's right. I think that's probably right. That's a good program. That's not an elite team. It's a good program. And so, yeah, man, on the road in November against a strong defensive line, sure.
Yeah, they've taken the place of Boston College, who was there for quite a run with Adazio and a little bit with Halfley, where it's
Right.
lunch pail type games, whatever. The analysts love that. But you better show up, because if you don't, then you're going to be in the throes of a one-score ball game, low scoring, third quarter, and who knows at that point. Crowds involved. It's kind of a slow, plodding field, too. You don't see it too much anymore, like Michigan State or Notre Dame back in the day with the high grass. I just feel like that track for the pros and college is a slow one, kind of sloppy. And if they're playing good physical defense on the perimeter, then you just run it right at them. That's the good thing about this offense, though, is okay, they got good corners. So what? So what? This offense can do a little bit of everything.
I agree. It's a game Florida State should win. We'll hold them to that. It is a fair observation, and it could be a tough game. I'm really not. I think when you get to be, look, the reality is, and it's true with college kids, and to some degree, it's true with professionals, less so, but football does breed this difficulty in remaining intensely focused every week, all the time. It's a tough game to do that for, because it's so physical, because of the wear and tear. And in the case of college kids, there's an immaturity to the work ethic day to day that usually is not the case in the NFL. In the NFL, you've got grown men competing for the ability to live a lifestyle, feed a family, and continue to make house payments, boat payments, and everything else. You'll show up and do your damn job, because your ability to do so directly affects my wallet as a teammate and a guy lining up next to you. They're all holding each other accountable week to week. A little less so in college. Again, the immaturity level and work ethic can fall off. But I do think the game itself makes it very difficult to see the laser-like focus you would want on every game. That's how you end up oftentimes with games that shock the hell out of you. You flip over and you're watching Alabama struggle with somebody that they should have no business struggling with, or any number of other powerhouse teams that have that one game a year where it's not the arch rival. It's not the also ranked in the top 10 opponent. It is this no name that for some reason is currently up 13-10 midway through the third, and a game in which the highly ranked team was favored by 28. It happens.
Yeah, and we love it. That's why we love the sport when it's not happening to us. But if you take a look at it, and the schedule's up on the Warchant TV side, for those of you on the radio, I'll speak it out loud. But if you're looking for a part of the season where you're worried about maybe the team dozing off a little bit, because let's say that they do take care of business and at minimum split LSU and Clemson. So their goals are all before them, playoff goals, ACC championship goals. Virginia Tech, Syracuse, and Duke are 3 consecutive home games that don't inspire a lot. They are home games, so that helps. But then on the 28th of October, you go on the road at Wake. And then on the 4th of November, that's the Pitt game on the road just before you host Miami the next week. So it's just a sequence of non-inspiring games that crescendo in a look-ahead position with Miami on the horizon for that trip to Pitt. So that's where it does jump off the page. Wake Forest, you might go up there a little angry because they've been, unfortunately, a lot better than us as a football program for years. So you might want to set something straight. So if you put some emotional eggs in that basket, you got Miami on the horizon. There's your sandwich game, and Pitt is physical enough to do something about it.
It's the one. It's the one that jumps off the page. I think we've had enough of a setback repeatedly against the likes of Wake Forest as to have our full attention. We're tired of it. I'm certainly going to spend a lot of time beating the drum leading up to October 28th. I've already mentioned the Wake Forest game several times. Not that what I say influences the outcome of football games, but I think that it is sort of universally felt like it's time to set the world right. Wake Forest ought not be this bane of our existence. It should not be a thorn in our side any longer. It's time to bludgeon Wake Forest the way that Wake Forest deserves to be bludgeoned. Let's set things right. They'll have our attention. The Pitt game, you're right, because it's sandwiched right in between. Because after that, your next big game that you're looking ahead to is the always has your attention Miami game. Even though you expect to win that game and you feel good about your chances of continuing the win streak or extending the win streak there against Miami. I mean, yeah, you can't overlook Wake Forest, obviously.
But that's the human nature part of it that makes college sports even more interesting than the pros. The pros aren't going for a perfect season unless you're the Patriots of nearly 15 years ago. I think it is 15 years now, which is crazy. But, if you slip up along the way, not a big deal. The number 1 seed is still in play, or a home playoff game or a division is still in play. College, you just, until this thing expands next year to 12 teams, you still have to be razor sharp week after week after week. And no matter what happens with the LSU and Clemson games, even if you were to lose both, then the challenge becomes, okay, these are a bunch of also Rans that are coming to town. Are you going to be mature enough to handle the task in front of you? If you win them both, it's the same thing for a different reason. But that's the challenge this year. I think in a way for the coaching staff, there isn't as much of a revenge tour. We like it because we want to beat Wake on the road. But for Mike Norvell, he already asked them to blow teams out that were bad last year, and they proved that they could do it. So this year, it's, all right, you're good enough to do that. Are you still going to be mature enough to stay on task?
Yeah, and every team is unto itself. The team that shows you that they can be incredibly mature in 2023 may not be able to do so in 2024 or 2025. You just never know, and coaches try to get a feel for that and get a sense for that. Usually if you're a senior-laden team, when you have, obviously when you have a Jordan Travis leading the way, and then on the other side of the ball, you've got a Fabian Lovett or somebody like that that's been here for some time, and they hunger for more, and they're all wanting it to pay off here. You'll get those guys leading the way and have the focus of the underclassmen and the younger starters. I think so, but it's every year. You don't know what you're going to have in terms of the maturity of that group.
That was the best part of 2013, is they all understood that if they go hair on fire for 30 minutes, not 60, for 30, their day was done.
Yeah.
They could hang out on the sideline, embrace the fact that they have been, especially for those upperclassmen from that team, where they were when they arrived on campus to where they are now. You bask in the glory of all the hard work.
You play hangman on the sideline.
And you watch the freshmen and sophomores go get some work in. That is the potential benefit to such a large swath of the schedule, is if you have that maturity from the top level, you guys are done in 40 snaps. You're done. And then you get to build for the future with a lot of good young players.
It's so funny because dominant teams, I was on one dominant team. I've been on a few terrible teams, and I'm just thinking back to what it's like, the mentality of, okay, the number one thing when you're a favorite, and this Florida State team will be a favorite every week just about that they play this year. I mean, there aren't too many days that they will not be a favorite. Maybe they're not a favorite at LSU by the time that game rolls around. I think they will be 1 point favorite, something like that. They won't be a favorite on the road at Clemson, we don't think. But if in theory, if you beat LSU, 34-17 or something like that, you might very well be a favorite. But I'm gonna guess now that they will not be a favorite come game time against Clemson. They will be favored against every other team. So that's 10 times they'll be a favorite in the regular season. It may be 11, could be all 12. That's fascinating to think about. But the number one goal when you are the favorite week to week is to ensure, in the cases in which you're an overwhelming favorite, you give no shred of hope. You leave no doubt for an opposing team to feel like they have a chance to do the improbable. And the only way you do that is to, as you noted, come out and play with your hair on fire and dominate in the first quarter. That ends any illusion, any delusions of grandeur, any of it. It all goes the wayside. I remember, on bad teams, if we were still in it by halftime, you're like, oh, could be our day. Just play with a little bit of pep in your step, a little bit more confidence, a little bit more belief. And confidence is a key word. If you were a decided underdog and you were down 21 points just after the first quarter, it became a playing out the string. I'm going to do my job the best I can. Let's not get hurt. Let's go.
Well, both teams put in their younger players for extra work.
It does. It happens that way. You're right. So, hopefully this team has that. I would think, because they have not accomplished a damn thing yet, that they will have it every week. That every week's another opportunity to bludgeon somebody and to make a greater statement about who they are and where they want to go. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
When some slithery, slimy something shows up uninvited in my home, I want it gone now. Not next Tuesday, not tomorrow. Today. Pretty sure I'm not sleeping knowing that thing is crawling around in my house. That's why I call Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Here in Tallahassee, Paul's guarantees same-day service if I call before 1. Ants, roaches, mice, wasps, fleas, whatever it is, Paul's responds with guaranteed same-day service. Pretty sure I've never heard that from any other pest company. Guess that's an advantage to being a locally owned and operated company like Paul's Termite and Pest Control. They're here and make things happen fast.
We at Paul's know when you have some pest or rodent in your home, you want it out now. That's why in Tallahassee, we guarantee same-day service. You call us before 1, we'll be there before 5, guaranteed. That's our commitment to you. The health and protection of North Florida friends and neighbors is the reason we love our jobs.
For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Learn more at callpauls.com.
Honey, I just got a text from Dave. He wants us to come over for a barbecue. What's our excuse for not going?
Oh, no need for an excuse anymore, because Dave got a new girl from Hearth and Patio.
Oh, thank goodness. Dave, we will be happy to join y'all this weekend, and congrats on the new grill from Hearth and Patio. My wife said she would bring potato salad.
Hearth and Patio invites you to elevate your grilling game this year with one of their amazing grills from Fire Magic, Royal Master, or Blaze Grills. Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, making barbecues great in the Sunshine State.
Honey, Dave said no raisins in the potato salad this time.
Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
Hey, this is your stomach speaking. It's time to eat again. We met deadlines and closed out the workday like a boss. The last thing you want to do is cook dinner. Even worse, pick up any fast food garbage. We need something good, something local. We need foodiestakeout.com. An all-star lineup of local spots like Smitty's Tap House, El Jalisco, Jerry's Cafe, Hangar 38, Metro Deli, and more. It's so easy. Just choose pickup or delivery, and let's eat the good stuff. I'm growling already. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
The Florida Gators are the plus 165 favorite to win the College World Series at Omaha, Nebraska. They are 2-0 so far in Omaha after a 5-4 win over Oral Roberts. They're off until Wednesday. They'll meet the winner of Tuesday's elimination game between Oral Roberts, the underdog, plus 130, and TCU minus 160. 12.5 over the total. Wake Forest today, $1.65 favorite over LSU, plus 135, 10 under a winner's bracket matchup. Elimination game, Tennessee, $1.45 favorite over Stanford, 10 under the total. Sign up now for your free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Mornings were made for better things than rheumatoid arthritis or RA. Xeljanz tofacitinib is a pill for adults with moderate to severe RA when tumor necrosis factor blockers did not work well or could not be tolerated. Xeljanz can help relieve joint pain, swelling, and help stop further joint damage. Xeljanz can lower your ability to fight infections. Don't start if you have one. Before and during treatment, your doctor should check for infections like TB and do blood tests. Serious, sometimes fatal infections, cancers including lymphoma and lung, blood clots, serious heart-related events, tears in the stomach or intestines, and allergic reactions have happened. People 50 and older with heart disease risk factors have an increased risk of death. Tell your doctor if you've had hepatitis B or C, have flu-like symptoms, are prone to infections, or have ever had a heart attack, stroke, clot, or other heart problems, or swelling of lips, tongue, throat, or hives. Ask your doctor about prescription Xeljanz. Visit Xeljanz.com or call 1-844-XELJANZ.
If you've been considering getting a new hot tub or upgrading your existing hot tub, now's the absolute best time to do it. Hot Spring Spas has the jets on full blast, and the prices right now have never been hotter. You can find huge savings at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, and we mean huge. For a limited time, you can get up to $5,000 off in instant discounts and rebates, plus 60 months no interest financing for qualified buyers. You heard that right, $5,000 in discounts. And that's not all. When you buy a hot spring spa from Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, you'll get a free consultation to determine the best placement in your yard for installation, a free accessory of your choice, and install can be completed in just a matter of days. It's the most aggressive rebate program that's ever been available to buyers from Hot Spring Spas. So stop by Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road today to check out their 12,000 square foot showroom with over 50 hot tubs on site. If you're ready to relax, Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3,
I did not notice what transpired this weekend as far as Billy Napier goes, P. Simpson, but I saw during the break that you noted Billy Napier had quite the weekend. Is this just now a permanent thing that happens every other day in which Ole Miss gets the opportunity to troll Florida? Because it happened again over the weekend with the quarterback, which is hilarious because that's now like all their head coach does over and over and over again. He's good at it. He's not quite Steve Spurrier in reverse when he went to South Carolina and did it to Clemson, but he's getting there.
In general, he's a throwback in that he's a character. There's some stuff away from the game that, Lane Kiffin can be really seedy, but we don't have a ton of characters left from head coaches, and he's one of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I lamented the loss of characters in college football, and you could see it happening. I mean, guys were either retiring, dying, or getting caught up in ignoring child rape. Those guys were all going the way of the dodo, and I was going to miss that in college football. But you do have one in Lane. Not a great guy, but does know how to use the Twitter very, very well.
Yes, he does. And he's good at it. Even like there are some guys who play the low-hanging fruit card and they play to the crowd, the mob. And it works, but it's not smart. Lane can do both.
Lane's funny.
Yeah, he's funny.
The Tom Petty thing was really good this weekend. I mean, that's really well done. And, of course, we're going to embrace it when it involves our rival being trolled to that extent. But it was good. It was good. He did the same thing with the fire emoji during the Florida Spring game.
He's just decided, and that's great.
Florida State, conversely, had a very good weekend. And yet again, big names abound around these parts. I was asked by Chuck Oliver today, what is it we're doing to entertain them? I said, well, apparently we're taking them out to get after some paintball wars. That video was outstanding. That's the exact course I brought my kids to just a week ago. And it is fun. But I love that the coaching staff took kids out. That was older, that video, but they release it now. And, I think it's a smart move.
Any injuries to report? We never got some feedback on that.
For me or for
anybody,
no, I got wore out a couple times.
You shoot a kid in the lips?
No, I shot a kid in the chest and I shot a kid in the side. Got another kid in the hamstring. One of the kids was bleeding after being shot. It was at close range. Jungle warfare time. We were up close and personal. You can hear, ow! Which is great. It's fun. We should do that as a staff. Warchant should do that. We should take
paintball.
Let's go.
I'm in.
It's a lot of fun. Have you been out to that course? The one that's near here?
I mean, I've seen it now on the Florida State video. It looks large.
Well, they have several. You can do urban. You can do jungle. Woods. You can do.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and you get to do all of them. Like you can pick because if you have it for say 2 hours or 1 hour, you really only need, frankly, about an hour.
That sounds about right.
Well, it's
the adrenaline crash.
Also, it's hot as Hades right now, man. You got to wear masks and all that stuff too. It's tough. You're out there. You're like, I'm sweating up a storm. I thought the one that had the bus and the trailers and the burn down stuff, RVs and stuff, that was cool. You're like in this dystopian burn down city, running around buses and stuff. I did shoot my son, but it was like a ricochet that got him, and he didn't. But Bryce got me several times. He decided to team up and really get after me.
You have the sleeves on, the pants?
I had I did not have long sleeves on. I had jeans on. I did do the jeans because I did get shot in the thigh, right square in the middle of the thigh, and it still stings, but it wasn't as bad as if I had shorts. The kid that was bleeding obviously was wearing shorts. Can't be out there wearing shorts, guys, if you're going to do the paintball wars. Florida State had a good week. I don't know what all they're doing is what I said to Chuck as far as entertaining the kids that come in. One would think they're having meaningful conversation about the direction the program's going.
Well, they go to our friends at District 850 who sponsors the bowling tournament. I know that they do big events out there from time to time, so that's part of it.
Paintball, bowling, Any of those kinds of events are fun. You can do that. There's anything video game related is great. Old school arcade. We need a giant old school arcade, not some piddly half the games don't work nonsense. Not naming any names. We need a big. Let's go. Here we are. This is a real Aladdin's Castle type arcade. I'd probably go to that twice a week.
Well, I mean, there are a couple in town. I just named one of them. They even have axe throwing on top of it, so you could do that.
I want the Galagas and the Centipedes and the Donkey Kongs and I'm saying those kinds of games.
So you want a retro one?
Yeah, Well, that's when you made video games in mass like that. Now they're too grandiose. There's no, you use up all your tokens in one thing. Yeah, you can play this one. It feels like you're riding in a NASCAR, but it's 17 tokens.
The modern grandiose game that I like the most is the Connect 4 basketball. That's fun. You ever played that?
What is it? Connect 4?
Connect 4 basketball.
Oh, I have not played it.
So everything it combines a few things together. That one you can get hooked on.
I would get hooked on that. I would like it. But back to the recruits and what we're doing. We're getting them here.
Playing Connect 4 basketball. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, we're getting them here. And the changes that we're seeing are consistent. And now I just want some yeses. I want some name drops. I'm told that is going to happen this week. And I brought that up in the first hour. And since recruiting keeps, it's the time of year where it's the thing. You got people here. I get it. I know, I'm glad we have a Michael Langston. I'm glad we have experts in the field of recruiting. I don't keep up with it the way that we're supposed to, despite the fact that I understand how important it is. I know these kids' names, and I've seen that they're here. I know that you can have the number one receiver or safety on campus and tight end and all these different guys, and I want all of them. You bring me everyone. Yes, sure. I got that. But I tend to just take a cursory glance. Are we getting the people that are of the highest quality, that seem to be universally designated as such? Are they arriving here on campus? If that's true, then we're going to get our fair share of yeses.
Yeah.
And even then, the problem is, in the modern landscape of recruiting, the whole game has changed. And you can get the yes, but you can be bought out. And we saw it happen with Travis Hunter. And who knows, maybe Travis Hunter doesn't go on to do a damn thing. He certainly hasn't done anything so far. And now he's stuck in Colorado. Nobody will ever see him play, and that program sucks, so it's not going to do him any good. He's wasted his time. But I obviously don't want that to happen again, where you have these huge names and you get all excited and you're invested emotionally, and then boom, somebody decides, well, we want them a little bit more and we're willing to give them $1 million, $2 million. Well, good luck. That kid's going to take that offer, and I get it. So I don't invest in that way.
Yeah, but you're correct. You want the relationships to be formed in mass so that when it comes down to the normal amount of attrition in the 11th hour, because Auburn gets desperate and they want to pay $1 million.
That's right.
It just as an example, then you will still have enough left of the core that you did good. And maybe you might distribute some of the things that may have gone towards that prospect that you lost the 11th hour, and you go get somebody. But the core remains intact. And then from there, you have the luxury items. But you need to have relationships of trust, and they got to like you, and you got to have them in the dozens.
I also think, Tom, and I want to, I guess, reassess and readdress my point about getting burned and not investing emotionally the way that some people still are capable of doing. I'm not as capable of doing it because of what happened and because of the realization that it just takes one very desperate program to decide we're gonna make a really full court press play for this kid, and you're gonna lose him.
Yeah, imagine if the Binghamton donor said we need to be good at football.
But what I do understand is, and this gets back to why I'm so encouraged in recruiting, is that two things are likely to ensure things of that nature don't happen again or as frequently. And that is, A, you're good at football. It was very easy to decommit from Florida State because they still hadn't done anything if you're Travis Hunter. So now I've got a guy wavering all kinds of money and filling my head full of lies on the one hand. And then in the other, Florida State hasn't won anything. I mean, I'm not missing out on anything. Like, if you suddenly turn your back on Alabama, I mean, those jokers, generally speaking, are in the college football playoff and winning SEC titles and playing for something of significance. It gets a little bit more difficult to decide to take this outlandish offer from over here.
Yeah. FOMO. That's true.
You know?
Yeah. You want to be around all of it. The
You-
pageantry.
yes.
And the pageantry is at its highest when you're winning.
It's
People think about USC and pageantry. They probably see pictures of Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and Carson Palmer in their head.
not the also ran seasons prior to this past one
Yeah.
that they had for the better part of 10 years. Correct.
That's right. Yeah.
Correct. Where coaches were getting fired? Yes, exactly. It makes it so much more difficult to have something like that happen if you're an elite program. Georgia doesn't have it happen. Alabama doesn't have it happen. A lot of these programs that are kicking ass and taking names are not having it happen. Oh, sure, you get a decommit or somebody will beat you in recruiting, but not in the same way that we saw it happen with Travis Hunter. And then the other part about it is I think that once you begin to get these guys on campus, there's no doubt we have praised this coaching staff for their consistency of message and their ability to relate and communicate to these kids and to win people over. So I think that you're able to offset whatever these problems may be. Obviously, the more frequently you're able to build these relationships now, and you're doing that because you won games and guys show up. Get Mike in front of him, man. I do think his passion's infectious. I do think he relates very well to a high school football player because he was one himself, and he's a guy that's not too far removed from understanding what that role is, what the role of football is for a lot of these kids, and because he was that guy.
I remember making the first trip up to the ACC kickoff after making the move to Warchant. This is 2 years ago now, and asking some members on the staff about how is this coaching staff messaging to 2022 recruits and 2023 recruits. Are they setting the bar high? Are they promising 8 wins, 10 wins? And really they weren't. I was taken aback because if you think about it, you're in a position of absolute desperation. You're terrible. And you can't communicate with these kids as frequently. You couldn't foster those relationships because of the pandemic. So I'm wondering if they were promising the moon and hoping that they landed on the moon that season in 2021. And they didn't. They said, 6 to 8 wins. That's reasonable. Just watch the improvement. See us improve. A lot of coaches will tell you that all of these great things are about to happen. And that's their pitch is a lie or a wish. I wish this is going to happen. So if we get it right, then the kid's going to come to us and we're swinging for the downs. Mike Norvell has always, from what I understand behind the scenes, been very reasonable in what he communicates to recruits about what is possible here. And it was early on about just, we're going to get better. You're going to see the improvements.
You watch us work.
And watch us work.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year, it was a little bit more, but they lived up to that. And this year again. But I just enjoy that, knowing that as a fan, because we can be fans as well on the side. If you are setting a consistent expectation, a realistic expectation, I like your chances in the long run to win out for some of these battles that come 50-50 because you're not blowing smoke. You're telling somebody the truth. They're more apt to believe you and sign with you if it's 50-50 on signing day because you never exaggerated a thing. I like that.
You've got a great NIL situation with the Battle's End. You've got a coach who's now winning. You have as well a thought of assistant coach on a staff as there is in the country, and Alex Atkins. You are trending on the field, as you're noting, in the wins category in the way that you would have to be to glean the interest of a 5-star kid to begin with.
To get them to be here in June or July to begin with. Yeah.
Now you do it again this year. Now you have another great season. And it's going to happen more and more and more. And, these conversations will change. I'm trying my damnedest to enjoy what this year is because I know if this year is fully realized and they win 11 games and they make the college football playoff and they wrestle away the ACC from the grip of Clemson for the first time in a better part of a decade, and they're able to reclaim their spot atop this conference and put themselves into position to be spoken about the way we once were for 20 years straight of being a preeminent power, the way Alabama currently is, right? Once that happens, the way that you anticipate seasons in big games and the conversation centered around them change dramatically. It's not always bad. It's just different. I talked to you. We have had this conversation over the years. Don't let me forget to Rob Manfred on the show today. Dumbass reveals him dumbassery some more over the weekend. But when we watch a regular season in Major League Baseball, it's a very long process. It's 162 games. There's an ebb and flow and feel to that is very different than the postseason. It's not that the postseason's bad in baseball. It's just very different. And I enjoy both, frankly, equally. I really rather enjoy the regular season. I enjoy this part of the climb. I enjoy this part of a return to greatness. I love this stuff when you get to sit back and go, man, it's happening. It's happening all around us. Look at this. It's cool. It's going to continue. Now, there'll be some bumps and there'll be some highs and lows, but for the most part, Florida State has ascended beyond, can we just be decent? Now it's, again, the transition from good to great.
Yeah, I think what you can see crystallized in the distance, it's not faded or it's not blurry, is that the offense is in a position now for the next 3 to 4 years where it's on autopilot. Like you can see on the assembly line, good players coming down the pike. Buried in the depth chart right now, young players who are extremely talented at all positions. You've got quarterback laid out there in a plan for the next 5 years, and you got Mike Norvell. Like the offense is going to be good year after year after year. It'll be tougher next year, maybe than any other in the next 5 because of all that you lose experience-wise. But you've got a lot of talent right behind the players that you're about to watch this fall. It's defense. If you can feel that way about defense in the recruiting ranks, and you look at the 23 class and they close strong, you hit the portal hard again this offseason, and the defense is in a position like the offense is right now, then we are exactly back to those glory days. Very briefly last decade, but then in the late 80s and all of the 90s, where you say they're just going to be good, really good. It's degrees of championship caliber, but they're championship caliber every year.
Well, I don't know how close we are to being able to say that about this defensively. I know we're there offensively. We are there.
I mean, it's real. That's a thing that is crystallized.
This year, I keep bringing it up, is a vital, critical season for this defensive staff. And I don't think it's just Adam Fuller. I think this staff in general has a lot of questions to answer. There are several guys on it. That's 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers to you. Several. At least 3. And so we'll go from there. They could pass the test. Somebody pointed out last hour when we were having a similar conversation or something sort of centered around the idea of expectation, that Ron Dugans was given the ultimatum. Now, I'm not saying we were in the room to understand how it was, revealed or said or laid out, but quite clearly, he needed to get some yeses. He needed to have some successes. He needed to see guys translate ability to on the field production. He needed guys to kind of stand up for him and to play well and to give us a reason to believe that this wasn't going to continue to be an embarrassing collection of receivers. When you have the worst receiving core in the ACC, it's impossible, no matter how beloved the coach is, not to begin to wonder, should you let a guy go? I mean, it was a reasonable request that we see some changes.
It's not inside knowledge to say that there was an ultimatum because you don't have to be in the room. Most of the coaching staff are getting raises and multi-year
and
extensions.
He did not get
and he got
one at
one
the time.
year and no raise.
Right.
I mean, what does that say?
It tells you this is it. Make or break. This is the year. And it worked. And thank goodness it did, because we were all rooting for him. We want that guy to succeed. Hell, I want almost all coaches to succeed, obviously, on Florida State staff, no matter who they are, because they're representing Florida State. So you want to see that success. But there's some guys that are bad guys occasionally that I've come onto the air and said, this guy's got to go. I don't care how good he is. He's got to go. That happens once in a blue moon. But I don't feel that way about anybody right now on this staff. I like all the guys, get along with them fine, and whatever. But they seem to be good enough guys. And then there are guys you're really rooting for. And Ron Dugans was the guy we were really rooting for. And I certainly remember him as a great player. I've always enjoyed interacting with him. And I thought the ability was there. It just wasn't happening. And for whatever reason, it wasn't translating. And so I am quick to tell you that no matter if I like you or not, I'll fire your ass. I mean, or call for it. And we were at that place with him. Are we there right now with anybody else? No, but I think this collection of fans, the fan base collectively wants to see Adam Fuller prove that defense can be consistently good.
Yeah, and this is the one that's hardest. In the offseason, there are a lot of times where we will get stuck on a point, or this is the crux. And I like talking about it. So we get stuck on the point of the offensive. It's pick your poison. That's a fun one.
It's a fun topic.
The one on defense that's the toughest for me to wait and see. I want to know now. I'm very much a millennial. is I want to see what he can do with a good defensive line. He's got one this year. You got one. So now what can you do with that? How productive can you be? The metrics loved you last year. We thought a lot of that was smoke and mirrors given the strength of the opponents.
Yeah.
But even opponent-adjusted numbers were really healthy for this defense, which is fascinating. But now that you have a healthy defensive, well, I mean, it's like top 12, top 15 in FEI.
You can go further in those numbers, but also this is one of those times where you and I would agree on something. You watch the games, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. The good offenses.
They were good enough to trounce bad offenses.
And they gave up a ton of points against good offenses.
Which is something that we haven't done in a long time. And that
showed improvement, Tom. I'm in agreement with you there. But you saw any
the line
offense
of scrimmage got reset. Oklahoma and Florida reset the line of scrimmage.
Did whatever they wanted to do, really.
Right. So now that you've got, and so that can also be an argument for him to say, what do you want me to do? I mean, I didn't have the horses.
Which is why it's important. Yes.
This is the point we get
stuck
on.
Because you do have it now.
Yeah.
So now you have to produce. This is going to be an easy conversation. It will not involve feelings. This will be the easiest of conversations. As I like to say, either you smoke or get smoked. You now have the tools which we can move the conversation into that realm. This isn't, I like this guy. Well, he had this and there was this other problem and it was raining that day. No, there's none of that now. It's, you have a dominant defensive line, we think. And it's deep.
Now, if you did get in your feelings about this topic this season, 3 thick-cut pickle chips and a split-top bun.
Oh, my friends at Zaxby's will help you get over it, baby.
You cope. They've been Golden Chief boosters since Ron Dugans was playing here.
18 years, my man. 18 years they've been Golden Chief boosters. That's a good thing. Actually, they haven't been Golden Chief boosters for Ron Dugans.
I know. It feels 18 years is almost enough.
It is a long time. It's amazing how fast.
Since I was a freshman, they've been Golden Chief boosters.
There you go.
That is a long time.
That is a long time ago. And it's a split top bun there, Tom.
That's it.
Yeah, split top.
Split that top.
Those pickles are thick, delicious. Split top bun, just like the sandwich, thick, delicious. One of 47 locations in town. Find your 47 Zaxby's around town and get after it. Friends of the Jeff Cameron Show and diehard supporters of Florida State Athletics. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Whidden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Whidden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Whidden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whidden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Whidden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Give your business a facelift with a modern, consistent, creative brand overhaul from Curiosity Marketing Group. These days, it's not enough for your business just to have a standard website or a Google listing to reach your customers. Your business needs to stand out with eye-popping branding, modern web development, and strong marketing. And it takes a team to pull it all together. Words and websites matter. At Curiosity, we make the most of yours. Find out more at curiositymg.com.
I used to fight almost on a daily basis working on my business website. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I could never get it to function the way I needed it to, and I was losing customers because of it. That's when I called Curiosity Marketing. They listened, they understood, we collaborated, and in the end, they delivered beyond my highest expectations. Now, I can barely keep up with the work. They say the future belongs to the curious, and now I'm excited about the future of my business.
Find out more at curiositymg.com.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours? Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but honey, tell the kids to drink water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mandlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
I'll never forget
that moment.
As long as I live.
As long as I live.
My first call-up ever as a member of the National Guard.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires. They were getting dangerously close to homes.
Helicopters were going out to drop water on the fires. Guys in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road, and
reason that I do, besides the fact that I love him, is that tonight it's he and I. We get to get reunited for the Smash. That's right, Monday Smash, everybody, 7:00 tonight, right here on Warchant TV. Myself and the great Ira Shafel, Warchant.com, who joins me right now. Hello, Ira.
How's it going, Jeff?
Good, buddy. What do you want to talk about tonight, huh?
Oh, there's plenty to talk about, Jeff. We got recruiting stuff. We can talk about recruiting. We can talk about baseball, the new hire for the baseball staff, Micah Posey. We could talk about some of Luke Kromenhoek's big performance, the Elite 11. There's plenty we could talk about.
We could talk about that top 40 list and how you and I are going to unveil tonight the latest, right? Did you know that? It was you and I going to be the stars of the show tonight, buddy. We get to do, what is it, 21 through 25? Is that right? Yeah.
21 through 25, man. It's very exciting. And then after that, we'll break down the top 20. We'll embrace debate. Not just not us tonight.
No,
that'll be coming. That'll be coming in the coming days.
I got to check here while you're on the air with me. I want to see if you and I do we have any guys tonight that will be unveiled that we vehemently disagreed about?
Man, I'd have to look. I didn't look at the but I wouldn't be surprised, man. We had plenty of differences. We could recap some of our differences in the first 20 as well, because you've got some. There's a few guys, it's funny. It's like you see the differences of, kind of like the importance level, where people put the importance level. And like, I think one, for example, I think you've got Vandravius Jacobs, I think a lot higher than me, I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Yeah.
And then there's a couple other guys like that. So we can break it all down.
I think one thing we do agree upon across the board, no matter where you have a guy ranked or I have a guy ranked or Tom or Corey or Aslan or whatever it might be, is that, this has been a better exercise, a much better exercise the last 2 years, and in particular this year. I felt like they graduated to a decent place last year, but now you're really, in some areas, you're just straight up loaded. And the oddity, Ira, is that you're kind of loaded in 2 areas where we didn't think there was any chance they'd be loaded in, and that was, really 3 areas: tight end, wide receiver, and offensive line.
Yeah, man, especially I think offensive line's an interesting one. We're about to get into a lot of those guys in this top 20 or top 25, and going to be tricky to, we're going to be wrong on some of them because they all can't start.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
And I think I think in this next group, to give people a teaser, there's a couple of offensive linemen in this next group that we're going to talk about tonight that, we don't know if they're going to start or not. And they're maybe guys that have played a lot and started a lot on the college level. But we don't know exactly how that's going to play out this season. I think they've got 8 guys that have been longtime starters or, have tons of college experience as offensive linemen. And like we said, they can't all start, but I think they all probably end up in our top 25.
Anything about recruiting over the weekend that stands out to you? It seems like Florida State. I was reading Michael's stuff on Warchant.com and going over to the recruiting boards and reading, the enthusiasm surrounding the big names that were here over the weekend and they're still here in some cases. I mean, I'm kind of curious your thoughts on anything that really stands out to you about where this is all headed. It looks like it's very, very promising when you look at the visit updates that Michael provided and where we can, and Matt as well. I think you see a lot of huge names and it feels like they're going to get some commits here real soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going in the right direction. And like you said, they've got a few big-time guys coming this week, KJ Bolden and, Jeremiah Smith. They've some elite prospects coming. Charles Lester, a 5-star cornerback, had his official visit this past weekend. Some FSU fans are starting to get a little antsy because Florida had a big splash with 4 or 5 commitments over the last 24 hours. The one thing I would say there, and I'm not trying to be a hater, but, we'll see if those guys stick. Because Florida, the over-under total for Florida is 5.5 wins. So do we know if all those guys are going to stick through a 5-7 season? That's something to be determined. So that's why I would encourage people to not panic too much about Florida's recruiting class, which right now is one of the top 2 or 3 in the country, because they still have to play this season and then see if whether or not they can keep those guys in the class.
It's funny you bring that up. I had my father was in town this weekend, Ira. Sorry, just thought I'd share that with you. By the way, I almost sent you a picture of you.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah. Well, listen, I almost did, but then I thought, well, what if he doesn't take it in the way that it was intended? I was going to send you a picture of my father and you hugging. I have a picture of you two hugging. It would have been hilarious if I went Happy Father's Day.
Hey man, it would be nice. It would be nice. I would never be mad about getting a Happy Father's Day for you or your dad.
Well, so here's what was funny. Dad was in town this weekend, and most of our conversations when they moved away from family and plans over the summer and all that went straight to football and what we're doing in the fall. And then he started talking to me about recruiting. He started talking to me about different expectations and all that good stuff. And he was asking over and over again about kind of what I think Florida and Miami are going to do and where Florida State's at. And I said, listen, Dad, I know you're reading here that Florida's killing it in recruiting right now, but is there any chance that holds true by the time this thing plays out? Remember what Florida State would do on occasion during the lost decade and later on, where they would have a real sense of momentum in recruiting, and then another disappointing year would occur, and one by one, those guys would get picked off by those that were waiting in the wings to do exactly what one would do when taking great players away from a declining program. Florida feels like that's the direction. Now, it's a desperate time for Billy Napier, but I tend to think that, yes, an average season leads to more fruit for Florida State.
Yeah, and look, there could be some players who see it as an opportunity.
Sure, always.
Well, some players will say, "Oh, this they need me," and that I'm going to play right away. The challenge for them, though, is this will be year 2, and so now you start getting into questions about his job security. Is he going to be there a year from now? Is he going to be there 2 years from now? Now, one thing we haven't seen yet when it comes to recruiting, because of the new age with the transfer portal, is that used to be very significant for players because they didn't want to go sign to a school and then be stuck there. Well, now they realize that they could transfer a year later if they needed to. So maybe that won't be as big of a factor as it has been in the past. But I still think it's a factor. I mean, again, it's no fun to have that committed to this school in your Twitter bio if that team's getting beat consistently week to week. So again, it's impressive what they're doing right now, and they need to do it, but we'll see if they can hang on.
Because you and I are going to be talking tonight, I won't keep you long today. I'll only say to you, congratulations that I now sit there and note that Baltimore is 44-27, sir.
It's a beautiful thing, Jeff. I didn't love all of that trip to Wrigley Field this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Lost 2 or 3, but got the big games coming up tomorrow and Wednesday, and thanks to Kim and the kids, I'll be down there watching the Orioles hopefully chip into that lead. The other day the Orioles, I don't know if they still do, but a couple days ago they had the second best record in all of baseball, and also the second best record in the AL East. So
yeah, it's tough when you're trailing the team with the best record in all of baseball. But hey, listen, the fact that the Orioles are within 5 games of a team that sits 51-24 is a testament to how much better that Orioles franchise really is. Brother, I'll talk to you in a couple hours. Well, a few hours, I should say.
Thanks, Jeff. See you, man.
Yeah, be good. Tonight, 7:00. It's more than a few hours. I'm losing track of time. It's dark outside. It's always dark outside. It's always about to rain.
It has been a dark time here.
Every freaking day. Pouring. Did you see I sent you a note before we break here on Oppenheimer?
No.
Oh,
You sent a note?
Well, I think I sent you an Instagram message.
Oh, an IG? I have to check
I
it.
sent you a message, buddy.
I don't get notifications on IG messages.
But
so.
you need to go look at that when I send you stuff. It's just that it said Oppenheimer biographer stunned by Christopher Nolan's film. Like the guy who wrote the biography, it moved emotionally. It was so good.
Oh, I thought he was stunned. He's like, that never happened.
Oh, no. He thought it was like the best thing he'd ever seen.
He didn't bomb the Germans?
No, it's incredible. You and I have been pumped about this. And Aaron and I had a conversation about it too, so I thought I'd bring it up now.
Okay. Well, got to set 4 hours aside
Here
to
we
go to
go,
the theater.
Christopher Nolan. Here we go. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A vehicle incident led to the death of a woman Saturday in Hamilton County in the area of County Road 143 north of 64th Trail. At 1:45 p.m. while traveling north on County Road 143, an SUV veered to the right onto the east grass shoulder. The driver reacted by pulling the steering wheel too hard to the left and traveled across the northbound and southbound lanes before traveling into the west ditch. The operator of the SUV then pulled the steering wheel to the right and struck a tree and overturned. The 61-year-old woman of Jasper was pronounced dead at the scene of the crash. The grandson of a Brooks County man has been arrested for being involved in his death. During the investigation, evidence led to the arrest of Allendale Rogers, 29 years old, in connection to the shooting death of his grandfather, Edward Sapp. Rogers is facing multiple charges. They reportedly lived next door to each other. Sapp's body has been sent for an autopsy. Rogers is currently in the Brooks County Jail. The GBI says the death is still under investigation. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems. Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Scattered thunderstorms likely this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies expected. High temperatures reach up to 86. Winds out of the southwest, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms again tonight. Lows level off around 71. Cloudy skies expected. Cloudy skies tomorrow. Scattered thunderstorms likely. High temperatures reach up to 88. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 69.
Hey folks, it's me, Mac and More, spokesperson for Tallahassee's favorite Apple and Mac product store, Mac and More. We all know what Mac is all about. It's your MacBooks, iMacs, Apple Watch, iPhones, iPads, we've all got them. But what's really cool is the and more. And there's a lot more at Mac and More. They can help set up your new gear, migrate and back up your data, teach you new tricks and how to use everything better. And if something costs too much to fix, they'll tell you the truth. There's a lot more at Mac and More. See for yourself at macandmoresystems.com. Or you can take it from me, Mr. Mac and More.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange.
totally agree, sometimes based on being able to connect with the personality or whoever it is, and other times not, and other times it's a wait and see. Of all the scenarios that we had going into yesterday and on into last night, I have to tell you the number one scenario on the list that I wanted to happen the least is what happened, which is that of Wyndham Clark winning the U.S. Open. And that is not because I have anything against Wyndham Clark, who's played really good golf this year, has ascended into the top 40 in the world, has already won on tour this year. So he's played well. It's not quite the same as, say, Sean McKeel or some other rando that you go, really? Okay. Bet he never wins again. And we've had these discussions over the years where you're like, okay, I can't believe. Like if Mito Pereira had closed it out, we'd have been like, really? Mito Pereira. Okay. But Mito did what guys like Mito should do, which is fail miserably down the stretch. And it happened in such a devastating fashion, he just left the tour. Good, Mito. That seems about right for you. I don't think that'll happen to Wyndham. I think he's a good player. And he showed real chutzpah.
Yep.
And he developed a lead late, so it allowed him to really wobble, and he really wobbled.
He's top 5 in strokes gained off the tee and putting.
Right. Well, and I think the other thing was the thing yesterday that saved his bacon were the chips. The chips were insane. He had 2 that saved. He hit 2 terrible shots to put himself in a horrible position, and he was able to chip his way back into either saving a bogey or a par, respectively. So that is really, really impressive. And I give him credit. It's still not what I wanted to happen. I either wanted to see finally Ricky cash it in, but it was evident from the beginning that he wasn't going to cash it in on this Sunday. Or I wanted Rory to go ahead and win and get his 5th major. And I'm torn on the Rory situation because this was not the same as St. Andrews. Rory hit the ball exceptionally well through the entire round, with the exception of one shot. And he actually didn't putt terribly. He just didn't make anything. It was proximity to the hole that killed him and continues to kill him. You can't have loose wedges where you're putting from 25 feet instead of 10.
I think so. I really enjoy watching big names take down majors like anybody else.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that. But when you have a first timer navigating the emotions down the stretch and the margins razor thin, Rory makes par in 18, so he's got to hit that tee ball. If this was any other course, he might have Mito Pereira.
Oh, he would have. It was a terrible tee shot.
I mean,
I have a problem with the course on that problem. By the way, there was supposed to be rough over there, and the pros complained during the week, and they pulled that down. And there shouldn't have. You can't hit it 58 feet to the right and get rewarded for that.
That's correct.
And he did.
But he made so many clutch shots off of tight Bermuda lies, like that chip on 11, is absurd.
Oh, yeah.
That's an absurd shot.
It is.
The grain is growing into him. Golfers around here know. The grain is growing into him. Is it perfect? Yes, because it's the U.S. Open. The grass is better than we play. But that is so hard to pull off. And he pulled off probably 5 or 6 different shots that were impossible to very, very unlikely. And he did so with gusto. And that tells you he's got nerves from a short game perspective. For the most part, he had nerves off of the tee. And he's a good putter. I just like watching the guys navigate their own doubts and fears, overcoming it. He's got a 60-footer. That's not a gimme 2 putt.
Oh, no, that's as good a lag as you'll ever
speed.
see. Yeah, it is
perfect speed.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing lag. And after all the commotion behind him and everything else, yeah, it's it was
Rory
cool.
wasn't robbed after taking it. Rory had a game plan that was controlled and conservative, and he executed it nearly flawlessly.
He really did, yeah.
There's a deviation in the style of Rory's playing now, and I think that makes him live for majors.
Okay, so we're in agreement. This happened. I can't believe it. I actually said, I wonder if Tom looks at this as another failed opportunity, or, oh, wait, this is different. I think it's different. I think he's about to win.
Yes, it is different because guys will throw up all over themselves and he'll win. Wyndham Clark did not.
He did not.
Tiger won a lot of majors
because people couldn't come get him. Yeah,
and because it's a 1 or 2 shot margin on Sunday, they may even catch him and tie him, but then they just vomit everywhere uncontrollably. And he did not.
It's also not a bad bet.
Correct.
On a U.S. Open course where greens and regulation has been key, and he led the field in greens and regulation, did Rory.
Yeah.
If if you are that kind of conservative in the sense that it's a U.S. Open, you can put up a big number in a hurry if you're not careful. Knowing that and knowing that this guy's never won anything of this magnitude, all right, I'm going to stay, steady wins the race. I'm just going to continue to hit greens and we'll see, and he'll implode. And he nearly did, but then he righted himself, and you got to give him a ton of credit. I agree with you.
A couple of things happened. The first thing I'll say is the early coverage yesterday. This guy nailed it, I thought. He said, I think a little bit of what made Rory, Brooks has adopted.
Right.
And I think Brooks has done the opposite. So Brooks is more vulnerable, which is what Rory has been for a long time.
It also benefits Brooks in the public eye when he's that way.
Right. It started with Netflix, but his interviews have been multifaceted and multiple. They used to just be one way, and it was short.
Always bro,
And bro. And now there's a little bit more depth to it. And that's been good for Brooks. And then Rory has got a bit more of a mean streak in him.
Well, because he's been burned.
So that means that Rory is not spending any time on anything else other than golf. And what he said this weekend was, I look back at when I won earlier in my career, I couldn't believe how conservative I was. I couldn't believe how controlled I was. I didn't think I was ever like that. And he clearly took that lesson that he watched on YouTube clips, applied it to yesterday beautifully. I thought he applied it. You make a couple of those putts. If the wedge is 10 yards longer, you win by 2-3 shots. It's just all these little moments that didn't go his way because Wyndham Clark was strong enough to finish the job.
Yeah.
Nobody else was.
No,
that golf
they were all
course
falling
was
to pieces.
brutally difficult this weekend, and Rory handled it very well.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Okay, we took the same thing away. I agree. I will say there'll be a time and a place for that, though. He should have been more aggressive at St. Andrews because Cam Smith is not scared ever, and he wasn't scared again yesterday. You have a freedom when you're playing from way behind, but he also is the only guy making putts consistently in the center of the cup from impossible angles on the regular, including slippery left to right putts.
Cam Smith, backdoor top 5, and John Rahm slid in with a top 10. A top 10 because Dustin Johnson missed a 10-footer on 18.
Yeah. By the way, so did you see the guys on No Laying Up call it stolen valor, and that is my favorite. Here comes Patrick Cantlay with a stolen valor.
Yeah. He didn't quite get there to a top 10.
It's the best ever.
I'm telling you, as this thing is coming down the stretch, on the television is, of course, the finish.
Oh, yeah.
But on my laptop are 3 tabs with shot casters for Xander Schauffele, Harris English, and Dustin Johnson, because I need 2 of them to tank.
Well,
2 of them to finish at 300. Xander obliged by missing a 4.5-footer on 18.
I'm also done with Xander in these things. I'm right to tell you he's going to make every cut in these majors, and he's going to be in contention for a while, and he's going to do what he did again. I'm done with him.
I got a bonus because Tom Kim doubled 17. I thought, oh, there's a freebie. He birdies 18.
Of course,
by nearly holing out from the fairway. So it comes down to the penultimate group, and DJ 10 feet away, win or lose,
down the heart,
and he missed.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the long
Not
putty.
the 30, no, the 30-footer. I'm going, you got to be effing kidding me, because now it's back. So Rahm gets a tied 10. Payday.
Yeah, I had in my other pool I had Rahm, so that was very helpful as well. Could have done without Ricky just puking all over himself in one of the other pools, but kind of felt bad for Rick. He's had a great year, and it clearly
over and done with.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just right from the jump.
The red flag before Sunday was how many bogeys he made. He was leading the field in birdies, but if you're not far and away in first leading the field in birdies, then something's wrong.
Yeah, feast or famine. It was a feast or famine. He either birdied or bogeyed. Yeah, there was not a lot of pars strung together.
Right.
Yeah, no, he was struggling with that. Let's do some probables, shall we? Let's get to.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Thanks to our friends at Power Mill. Camps all summer long for your little guy or gal. Softball, baseball, you want them to have the skills necessary to play and have fun, but also be their best. They do it at Power Mill, PowerMillSports.com. Cardinals, Nationals, Jack Flaherty, Josiah Gray, Royals, Tigers, Jordan Lyles, Reese Olson, Blue Jays, Marlins, Jose Barrios, Brian Hoying. Cubs, Pirates renewing pleasantries after the Cubs swept us. Let's get it together, Pittsburgh. Drew Smiley, Osvaldo Bido. Rockies, Reds, Austin Gomber, Brandon Williamson. Red Sox, Twins, James Paxton, Pablo Lopez. Mets, Stros. Ooh. Mets don't want to be playing the Stros right now.
No, they just got swept. Yikes.
Scherzer's on the hill. That's why you pay him. Hunter Brown goes to the Astros.
I don't know.
Rangers, White Sox, Andrew Haney, TBD, D-backs, Brewers, Merrill Kelly, Corbin Burns, Padres, Giants, Michael Waka, Ryan Walker, and that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Tonight, Warchant TV, 7 p.m. Good times. It'll be me and Ira, and it'll be the Monday Smash. It'll be good. It'll be tasty. Should be fun. I'm gonna have some cold beers tonight. I kept it cool over the weekend. I'll have some icy cold ones tonight. Joining Ira.
You've got 21 through 25. There's a couple of O linemen on there. Ira teased it correctly. A couple of O linemen make the list.
I can't believe how many of them have been on the list for the top 25. When you look, it's littered. It's littered.
A lot of O line,
with offensive
and there should
line,
be,
right? We haven't had in the entire time we've been doing the top 40 list this many offensive linemen. Good work. Good work. If I could speak, boy, Monday was tough. Monday's been tough.
It's gloomy today.
I don't know.
There were 4 trees down in my neighborhood. It's been a rough couple of days with a storm.
It's a new gutter for me soon. I have to put up that I'm not looking forward to. It all happens at once. Though. Yeah, good old gutters. Good work out of you. My thanks to all of you. Be well, everybody. Peace.